Doing good, Rama. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for asking.
Good. Rama, I think you already had a couple of discussions before, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Just want to understand a couple of things from you
Okay.
for project requirement. When is your joining day?
You mean where?
The last working day in your current organization?
My last working day is July 22nd. I already left that organization.
Okay, so you are immediately available for
Yeah,
joining,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Rama, maybe you can give a brief about yourself. Talk about the recent .NET projects you worked and what were your the responsibilities in the project.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for giving this opportunity. I have a total 12 years of experience in .NET. I was working with the .NET Core, microservices, and Azure. My role is a lead software engineer, which is used to help them to understand the team members and doing the some kind of individual contribution involving of POCs and creating of the pipeline, all are the phases of SDLC lifecycle. And I do have good exposure on databases like SQL Server. I have basic exposure on MongoDB. Coming to the responsibility to take the working with the on-site SMEs to get the requirements and to working with the closely to the team members and instead of we have a sprint releases bi-weekly and we need to discuss with the team members to is there is any deviation on the current requirements and getting of involving of estimation and to correction of the estimation if there is any deviation and involving of the code review process and set up some kind of automation tool in terms of sonar cube and other things to avoid some kind of memory blocking or code blocks code leakage coverages. It has to be taken care by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ramu, the other guys might have spoke to you on the technical stuff, like what is and how you will do all this kind of questions. But I'm also doing same thing, but it's slightly different.
Okay.
So, have you worked on migrating an ASP.NET application from one server to another server?
One server to another server, you mean to say on-premise to cloud?
Yeah, any nowadays even the private is also cloud only. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you can call it cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, from the cloud I have done, but on-premise to on-premise I haven't done.
Yeah, it's how process is same. So can you explain? Sorry, can you explain the steps to migrate one ASP.NET application from your on-premise to cloud? Can you explain the steps?
Yeah. The thing is, I do have exposure on two different ways of this kind of work. One thing is completely we have migrated from ASP.NET application to .NET Core microservices with Azure, and that is the one way of we have done the migration, the application. But your question is migrating that only that the code which was hosted in the one VM, it has to be moved to Azure, or is a kind of Azure any one of app services. That's what, right? Your question is second one, right?
It may not be like a cloud native. So that's why I told one server to another server.
Okay. Yeah, we do have like as part of my experience, we have done one of the POC to converting from the mission which was hosted on the one of the data center to move to the other data center. We need to follow the steps. What is the hardware configuration and what are the software configuration, which are prerequisites to host an application into the moving from one server to other server. And second thing is we need to check with anyone of firewall setup is involved to open the ports to connect with any one of the external service, or to is a kind of a database service, or it's kind of a any one of VNet and subnet configuration has to be involved to connect with the on-premise database servers. These are all the things, and we need to take care in terms of network security groups, and these are all the things we need to take care. And final thing is it's not only for the configuration hardware and software. We need to check the possibility to install of any one of what are the server is required, what are the SDKs are required to run that particular application, and is there is any logging mechanism, if there is we are using any kind of it's a kind of server logging as a one folder, and to make that folder has to be happen. And third step is like third or fourth step I can say, if you want to host an application as a manual, that is one story. You can check with the FTP connectivity is there, and to check with the connectivity, and we can able to publish it from the profile. Or we do have the facilities of CA/CD process. We need to set up with personal access token, and we need to install the shell script on the second machine, and we need to configure the PAT token to make as a CA/CD communication process whenever we want to do the build and deployment stages.
Can you explain the steps to deploy an web application on IaaS?
Yeah. Web application on IaaS through CA/CD or through manual?
Manual.
Okay. We need to create as application, like we need to open an IaaS server, and we need to create as a default websites, or we need to create another new application. We need to configure as the virtual path, what is the application name, virtual path, and what are the application pool. By default it will try to create as a default application pool, and that application pool will specify what is the version of the particular application has to be taken care as a classic ASP or ASP.NET application. These are all the things we need to take care of the application pool. And the same thing is, there is any the application was hosted, it is not only for local host configuration. There might be the public accessibility. We need to set up the AD like DNS name from the domain providers. The DNS name has to be configured in the advanced settings, and add the what are the HTTP what is the protocols has to be responded for a particular endpoint. This is the configuration. After that, we need to publish that published code from whether it is normally published from the local, and we can able to get that information, the published code or web deploy code to the particular virtual path which was created. And otherwise, we can have the CA/CD process also. We can also dump from the draft folder to the specified location by using the file transfers.
Assume you have HTTPS binding.
Yeah.
And you need like a certificate. How do you load the certificate into IaaS?
Hi, Suresh. Hi, Ram.
Hi.
You can continue.
Yeah. Yes, Sumesh, I did not get a chance to get this kind of HTTPS configuration, but I know the theoretical. The certificate was provided by the DNS providers. We need to get that certificate. We need to export from the that mission. If we can open that the server which was hosted an application, we can open the certificates. We can also export that certificate, and we can configure that certificate in the IaaS server certificates panel in the right side of particular application. If you select that application, you will be able to select the self-signed certificate or any one of the certificate. We can able to export the certificate, and we can able to configure as an HTTPS for the particular application.
Okay. any WCF services?
I was worked with the WCF services 6 years back. That time I haven't get a chance to deploy that because I was like senior guy. I don't have a provision to do that kind of installation or hosting. I think we don't have a separate process for WCF. Only the thing is the WCF of the published code we need to publish it. That is what I am thinking, but I did not get a chance to work on the WCF hosting.
Okay. What are the different frameworks you work? .NET frameworks?
.NET 4.0. I was working on .NET MVC and ASP.NET .NET Framework 3.5, and now working with the .NET 5.
You work in MVC?
Yeah, I worked on MVC.
Is there any difference in deploying MVC application and ASP.NET application?
.NET application, MVC application. I don't think so. There is no differences. No differences, sir. We can able to publish the published code to virtual directory, and it will take care. But internally, we have a handlers. For ASP.NET, it will try to handlers and modules will take care of the request and based on the extension. But MVC, we have the concept of abstract. In the abstract, we need to configure as what is the routings and all the things. But there is the hosting wise there is no difference, but the functionality wise, handling wise is the process is everything is different.
Okay, so let's go back to our first question.
Okay.
How you identify different dependencies for redeploying the application into a different server?
Okay. Different dependencies in terms of software, we can able to find it out. Dependencies identification. The dependencies may be whatever the, for example, if you are taking as RDLC, reporting format, we have to be installed as an RDLC. Then only we can able to see that design of a particular reporting. That is one kind of based on the once we can host an application in the pre-prod or something, we can able to check whether how the application is working or not. We can able to get some kind of errors, whether the application is working properly or not, whether the application is responding based on the based on the error messages, based on the logins, we can able to check. But as a DevOps team or as a build team, we have the some kind of a high level documentation. What are the things are required to set up a server. For example, if you take as an application, it needs some kind of a Windows server. We know that this application is having some kind of Windows server. It has to be running as an some kind of the project which was running as a background. These are the predefined steps we should have. Based on this information, we can able to max like a 50 to 60% we can able to complete of this configuration, and 20% of the configuration in terms of open the firewall if there is any database connectivity was not happened and it is showing as a network issue, or it was not able to connect to the database, it was not able to connect the Redis cache, or it is not able to connect as another API which was hosted in different environment. Those are all the things. It will be mostly it will be able to find it at the time of checking in the development stage or pre-deployment stage. 60 to 70% we can able to find it based on the previous documentation, based on the dependencies of an application. What are the things which we are using? What is the prerequisites to we need to take care as a DevOps team?
there is no documentation. It's a very old application, okay, and there is no documentation. So, how you will approach to discover this particular application?
Yeah, we have a web.config file is there in ASP.NET. There itself we can able to find it out so some kind of app settings and some kind of the required assemblies which needs to be executed for that application. Based on that thing we can get as some kind of high level information. What is this application using the libraries? Is there is any of third party libraries needs to be installed if you want to migrate the application from one server to another server? And if there is based on the connection string, we need to get it as is there is any database needs to be installed in the same server or the different server based on the connection string of the source. And third thing is we can able to check is there is any API third party API call is there is any port number needs to be opened inbound or outbound port needs to be enabled or disabled. These are the based on the code and based on the packages of web.config or based on the CS cross file, we can able to find it up. It's a kind of high level information, but definitely those case if you don't have document, you can able to go ahead with some kind of CS project file and a web.config file and checking of the entry point of an application. Is there is any dependencies are required? We can go ahead with the reverse way of direction.
Okay. In your opinion, what is the best way to migrate database to another server?
Yeah, migrating the database, we have the different ways we can do. We can take a backup and we. I think you mean to say the SSMS is also SQL Server is also not installed in the respective server, right? That is also we need to take care.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, we need to install that server. Otherwise, we can have the some kind of a shortcut to get as an image. And as an this will be taken care as a network and infra team completely. They will try to take as a image backup and try to install the same image on the destination server. Based on the if the installation is done, we can have the same kind of setup and same kind of environment. Maybe the network is different. We can configure the network. That is one way of doing we can do. Second way is completely from the scratch. We can take as an VM from the any one of the cloud providers, and we can able to install the steps followed by the Microsoft, which was given to install this SSMS. In terms of the user creation and all the things, we need to take care. We need to take as a script as a schema, and we need to execute that schema, and after that we do have a concept of getting the data, but that is a least that is the very it will take a lot of time consuming process. Instead of that, once the SQL server is installed on the destination machine as a manual, we can able to get as a backup file, and we can able to restore from the backup which was already taken from the server 1 to latest server.
If you have, say, enterprise application blocks used in your application, okay, and if it is older version, how migrate this enterprise application blocks?
I don't know that exactly enterprise application blocks. You mean to say the folder structure of the source application, it has to be migrated to yeah, enterprise library of connecting to the different databases, you mean to say?
Yeah, either application or data or logging blocks.
Yeah.
If you have any, so if it is an older version, how you can migrate use that enterprise library in the new server?
First of all, we need to before going to migration from server 1 to server 2, we need to check locally with the migration of the packages using the Nugget package manager or package manage console. Need to install with the what is the latest version, latest stable version, and trying to check whether the logs is happening or not with the after migration. If everything is goes well, then I can based on the packages Nugget package manager, it will automatically restore the if you can give a build based on the if you can give the build using the published folder, if you can give the build by using the Azure CI/CD process, Nugget packages, it will take as the latest thing and it will create as a it's a kind of published code and it will be able to deploy. But only the thing is we need to check whether after migrating after migration from the package or from package 1 to package 2, we need to check some kind of end-to-end as a local or as a dev environment to check whether it is working fine or not before giving to any QA or UAT. Otherwise, we will get a lot of bugs or some kind of miscommunication or gaps between the dev team to QA team.
Yeah, Ramu, done with my questions. And do you have any questions, Ramu?
No, man, you asked already all the questions. And yeah, and the development, and the migration and the application migration, how we are going to do, and if we don't have any kind of proper overview or the documentation, then how you can find it out and the migration can be done. So that confidence should be there.
Okay.
So did you do any kind of migration before? Any like from one server to another server? Did you move any application?
Yeah, we have moved as part of POC only I have done, but as part of a project I have done from completely migration from technology to like ASP.NET to .NET Core microservices with Azure. Like that, I had a good exposure, and I have exposure on this kind of server 1 to server 2 configuration. But if we can say that how much confident and out of 5, I can give as a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, that's one my side.
So that's it from our end. Do you have any questions?
I just want to understand what is the exactly the looking for the project is a kind of migration, or what is exactly looking for the candidate?
Immediate requirement. See, the one project immediate requirement is for a migration project. So we are migrating around 10, 12 web applications to services and web application actually to cloud, AWS cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's one immediate requirement. Others, they might have discussed with you in your previous discussions, right?
Correct.
Other requirements.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Umesh. Thanks for being.
Yeah. Okay. So you're joining it's immediate, right?
Yeah.
Like when offer is released, you can join immediately.
Yeah, based on the offer, and I need to check with the annexer and other things to team, right? Like what are the benefits and other things. I can able to join once discussion is done with HR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good, Ramu.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
For your time.
Yeah, thank you, Sumesh. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Ayan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.